so let's talk about the Pittsburgh Steelers here a little bit. And obviously, their first round draft pick was Kenny Pickett, but I think their second round draft pick, none other than George Pickens, wide receiver, has made a lot of noise so far early in his Pittsburgh career. Miles, what do you have there?
Well, Nick, and when you're running around in shorts, there's only so much to be said. But through minicamp and OTAs, people are saying George Pickens already looks like a bona fide star receiver, which is nothing less of what we would expect from the Pittsburgh Steelers. But per Noah Strackbine, I guess that's how you say it, over at Fan Nation, he says, look, the Steelers were excited about George Pickens. The fans were excited about George Pickens. And the media has even been excited about George Pickens. But this dude has already blown all expectations out of the water. Chase Claypool looks like a big guy who can move better than most players. But Pickens looks like he's got Deontay Johnson's route running, Calvin Austin's speed, and Claypool's size. It's absolutely insane. It is ludicrous. The guy's already a star in my head, and hopefully he doesn't prove me wrong. This is like top tier praise for a second round pick in rookie minicamp and OTAs. And this sounds pretty exciting for Steelers fans, don't you think?
Yeah, I mean, obviously Pickens coming out of Georgia, one of the major, strikes against him, one of the reasons he fell in the draft like he did was character issues and obviously the injury issues. I know you've got a little bit on the injury. We'll talk about that later. But I want to talk about the character here thing for a little, because we've seen quality organization, the Steelers, the Steelers rival, the Baltimore Ravens are very similar. The Patriots did this for a while. They take guys that have maybe a few character flaws, a few red flags coming out of college, and they don't have any issues with these new teams because these organizations and these coaching staffs set them straight. And so far, Pickens is that to a T. And he's even learning from a lot of these guys. Pickens was talking about, you brought up Chase Claypool. Pickens talked about Claypool. Pickens said, yeah, I talk to Chase almost every day. He really just helped me in terms of getting the flow of the game and getting to the flow of the locker room and getting the flow of the whole facility. It's our first time here, so it's just getting us acclimated to it and the whole process of being a Pittsburgh Steeler. I think that's huge, right? You got a guy in Pickens who has all this talent, and any sort of character concerns seem to be completely gone out the window. Everybody likes him, and so far he seems to be a great teammate too.
Oh, yeah, and then we talked about his injury concerns. Pickens, who tore his ACL and missed a decent amount of the 2021 season, it's said, even Kirby Smart, his former coach, said it's been miraculous how big of a turnaround he has made coming off of this. And in this interview where he's talking about him leaning on Chase Claypool, they asked him how comfortable he felt out there as regards to learning NFL offenses, being with NFL athletes, and his injury. And he says he felt very comfortable out there. He feels good. He feels back to 100%. So the injury concerns, he akined it to a bump in the road, some rough waters, and he's over that now. Things are smooth and smooth sailing for Pickens. So you have to be excited about that as well, knowing that he views his injury as a one-time thing, a bump in the road, and something he's not even really concerned with anymore. He's just looking forward to being the best receiver that he can be for Pittsburgh.
Yeah, and I think one of the question marks for Pittsburgh going to the season is obviously with Roethlisberger retiring, who's taking up the leadership mantle? How's the structure of the team's going to be? And I keep going back to the fact that Chase Claypool, I remember Chase Claypool at times last year was criticized. Remember the celebration against the Vikings for not really being a team guy. This offseason, and based on these things that we found, he seems to be a leader at the wide receiver position. And having some of these young guys step up and be leaders and allow talented players like George Pickens to fit in right away and become, top flight players right out the get-go, that is absolutely huge for Pittsburgh. And if I'm a Steelers fan, I'm excited both for Pickens, raw athletic ability and how healthy it looks, but the environment and these young leaders coming out of the woodwork here for Pittsburgh. I mean, there's a lot of good things happening for the Steelers right now.
And I'll comment on Chase Claypool and his leadership ability a little bit. I think last year, one big thing that happened to Claypool is the loss of Juju Smith-Schuster. And not so much that I'm saying that Juju was a problem. I think some of the things he did last year weren't necessarily a distraction, but wasn't the best. But I think that Juju was being leaned on as the leader, at least, of the wide receiver room last season. And now that he is gone, he's with the Kansas City Chiefs now, that weight has been shifted onto Claypool's shoulders. Yeah. And sometimes it's like, if you can't handle the heat, then you get out of the kitchen. And it seems as if, Claypool has been shoved in the kitchen in the leadership ship aspect. And he seems to be taking that heat pretty well. Some people can't handle it, but Claypool, coming from a big school like Notre Dame, being, a very high talent, high caliber school, he's used to being in that spotlight. And this may even be the boost that Claypool needed to take his game, his maturity, and his leadership level up a notch. And I think that if that is the case, Pickens has a really good guy to lean on, who he already seems to be leaning on, and to look up to in that Steelers offense. So I think this is nothing but good stuff for the Steelers. All right, Nick, it's time to get your internet privacy back today on every device you own in any country you want. Don't let anyone but you control your internet. NordVPN keeps you safe from prying eyes wherever you go online with their military-grade encryption. Is your favorite Netflix or streaming content blocked in the US? You can simply connect to one of the many countries available with NordVPN and get the access you need.
That's right, Maya. So right now, get our exclusive NordVPN deal here at nordvpn.com/SMI. It's risk-free now with NordVPN's 30-day money-back guarantee. Again, get that exclusive deal, nordvpn.com/SMI.